There exists a dangerous misconception among many who profess faith, a misguided attempt to wield the law of Moses as a tool of judgment while disregarding the overwhelming grace of God. This distortion not only undermines the gospel, but also places those who cling to the law under the very condemnation they attempt to impose on others. The law was given to Israel as a covenant, not to the entire world. It was a standard of righteousness that exposed sin rather than removing it. It was never meant to save, only to reveal the impossibility of achieving holiness apart from divine intervention. And yet, many today attempt to invoke the law as justification for condemnation, failing to recognize that the moment they do so, they themselves are bound by it. Scripture is clear. The law does not justify, it does not redeem, and it does not grant righteousness. Instead, it brings a curse, demanding perfection that no human can achieve. Those who cling to the law without acknowledging the supremacy of grace are not standing in righteousness. They are standing in judgment against themselves. Jesus Christ came as the fulfillment of the law, ushering in a new covenant of grace. Through his sacrifice, we are no longer under the law, but under the mercy of God's redemption. To reject this truth is to reject the very foundation of salvation. It is to willingly place oneself under the impossible weight of legalistic demands that lead only to condemnation. This message is not a gentle reminder, it is a rebuke, a warning to those who have chosen judgment over mercy, condemnation over grace, and self-righteousness over the gift of salvation. To wield the law without understanding its purpose is a grievous error, and to disregard the power of grace is to stand opposed to the very gospel of Christ. Let the weight of this truth sink in, and let it challenge every assumption about law and grace. This is not a matter of theological debate, it is a matter of life and death, righteousness and condemnation, bondage and freedom. Choose wisely. To those who invoke the law of Moses as a means of judgment, understand this: the moment you quote the law, you are bound by it. And if you are bound by it, you are already condemned. For the law does not justify, it exposes guilt. The law condemns, not saves. The law was never meant to bring salvation, but to reveal sin. Romans chapter 3, verse 20 states, "For through the law comes the knowledge of sin." If you invoke the law, you must keep it perfectly, and yet no one can. James chapter 2, verse 10 warns, "For whoever keeps the whole law, yet stumbles in one point, has become guilty of all." By quoting the law, you are instantly held to it, and in doing so, you have been found guilty. The law does not bring righteousness, it brings a curse. Galatians chapter 3, verse 10 declares, "For all who are of works of the law are under a curse, for it is written, 'Cursed is everyone who does not abide by all things written in the book of the law, to do them.'" If you live by the law, you must die by it. The law does not grant mercy, it demands perfection, and no one but Christ has fulfilled it. Sin is not just an action, it is a state of being. Sin is not merely what you do, it is who you are in a fallen state. Romans chapter 3, verse 23 reminds us, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." You do not sin because you make mistakes. You sin because you are fallen, and in that fallen state, you miss the mark. If you use the law to condemn others, you condemn yourself. Matthew chapter 7, verse 2 warns, "For in the way you judge, you will be judged, and by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you." By quoting the law to judge others, you have judged yourself, for you are guilty of the same. The law was given to Israel, not the world. The law of Moses was a covenant with Israel, not the world. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44 states, "Now this is the law which Moses set before the sons of Israel. It was never meant for Gentiles, nor was it meant to be a tool for condemnation in the age of grace. We are under grace, not the law. Christ fulfilled the law so that we might live under grace." Romans chapter 10, verse 4 declares, "For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes." To cling to the law while ignoring grace is to reject Christ's sacrifice. If you invoke the law, be prepared to answer for it. If you live by the law, you will die by it. But if you accept grace, you will live by Christ. Galatians chapter 5, verse 4 warns, "You have been severed from Christ, you who are seeking to be justified by the law. You have fallen from grace." Do not let self-righteous judgment lead you into condemnation. Instead, embrace the mercy of Christ, lest you find yourself judged by the very standard you impose on others. Listen carefully, because this is not a soft warning. It is a rebuke. The moment you quote the law of Moses, you are instantly bound by it. And the moment you are bound by it, you are condemned by it. The law does not save, it does not justify, it does not grant righteousness. It exposes sin. You are not worthy of wielding it as judgment, because it has already judged you. You think that by condemning others, you stand on solid ground? Not at all. You have placed yourself directly under the curse of the law. If you invoke it, you must keep it perfectly. Every letter, every command, without failure. And if you fail in even one point, you have failed in all of it. The weight of the law crushes you under its impossible demands, and yet you dare to weaponize it against others while standing condemned yourself. You are in a fallen state. Sin is not just what you do, it is what you are. Every breath, every moment, you are missing the mark of God's glory. To claim righteousness through the law while your body is still under the curse of sin is the highest form of self-deception. You are no better than the one you accuse, because in your judgment you pronounce your own guilt. And let this sink in. You are speaking in ignorance. The law was never given to the world. It was never a covenant for all mankind. It was a contract for Israel alone, a burden placed upon a chosen people, not you. To misapply it, to hold others to it while standing in utter blindness to its purpose, is reckless and worse. It is dangerous. We are not under the law. We are under grace. And yet, you insist on dragging people back into chains that have already been broken. You are placing yourself on the path of judgment, aligning yourself against the very mercy that could save you. If you live by the law, you will die by it. And if you continue to wield it in self-righteous ignorance, you are marching yourself toward destruction. The weight of the law is crushing, unyielding, and absolute. It does not discriminate, nor does it grant righteousness. It exposes sin, magnifies failure, and condemns even the most well-intentioned. Those who seek to wield it as a weapon against others must first reckon with the reality that they themselves stand condemned by the very standard they impose. Yet, in contrast to this unrelenting judgment, grace stands as the final answer to humanity's brokenness. Where the law demands perfection, grace offers redemption. Where the law condemns, grace justifies. Christ did not come to reinforce the burdens of legalism. He came to fulfill the law and usher in a new covenant, one built upon mercy rather than condemnation. To reject grace and return to the chains of the law is to reject the very work of Christ himself. Those who cling to the law in self-righteous ignorance must heed this warning. Your judgment will turn upon you. The standard by which you measure others is the standard that will be used against you. And the moment you invoke the law, you have placed yourself under its impossible demands. Your righteousness, if it is built upon legalism, is hollow. It is nothing more than an illusion of morality that crumbles under the weight of your own imperfections. But grace is different. Grace does not demand, it invites. Grace does not condemn, it restores. It is the undeserved gift of salvation extended to all who will receive it. The path forward is not found in clinging to the past burdens of the law, but in embracing the freedom that Christ has purchased. This is not a suggestion. It is an urgent call to examine where you stand. Do you remain bound by the law, weighed down by judgment, blind to the redemption that has already been made available? Or do you surrender, casting aside self-righteousness in favor of the mercy that alone can save? The choice is yours, but choose wisely, because the consequences are eternal.